All right, my coffee is gone, which means we're recording episode 3 of Cosmically Narrated, giving you Virgo season September of 2024. Okay, let's just jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen right around here. Okay. And yes, I use Canva and my God, do I love it. I love it. And if you're someone who's like, I don't like Canva and you don't like making these things, hi, hire me because I do a great job and I love it. As a part of my creative and art direction that I've learned. This is just like very Aquarius. Also, we're going to move into like Aquarius, kind of talking about Aquarius vibes in Virgo season, right? But well, that's beside the point. That's just a little pew, hire me, moment. Because you should always do that. If you're an entrepreneur out there and you're not selling your service and talking about what you do it. Talk about what you do, and why not? That's the whole point of entrepreneurship, right? So thank you, Virgo. So we're going to be here. We're going to be here. Okay. We are in September of 2024. I don't know how you feel, but I can tell you how I feel and what August was like. I know I was feeling like, whoa, August is going to be a lot. And then I got to August and then I was feeling a lot. I was like, oh, wow, this is a little pressure cooker. This is a cosmic pressure cooker moment. Wow. We are all being triggered, elevated, escalated, uh, everything, right? Things are coming up and out in order to change, release, shift, whatever it is for you. Just you're not alone in this, right? And I don't know the answer fully of like, ooh, when the planets move, does it affect us? Probably. We are all a part of something, right? So I just really, really, really want to, especially in this series, I just really want to pay attention to what I'm experiencing and what I'm hearing from my different clients and friends, family, people who are like feeling the vibe or they're feeling energy. And when does it, when does it just make sense, right? So August, right? Thank you. Thank you, August. August was quite the moment. And we're just going to take a moment here with August and say, thank you. Thank you for a beautiful summer. And also the things that we don't need to repeat, let's not repeat them, okay? Like it's done. Done. So September. We're going to actually go into some of this conversation about denso-ness, especially when it comes to Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. Technically, it already moved into Aquarius, and then now, September 1st, it's going to retrograde. It's back in Capricorn, but it's going to retrograde, and it's going to be in Capricorn for the last time ever, ever, for our whole lives. All of us, well, most of us. Whatever animal can live past 248 years, they may see Pluto come back into Capricorn. But us, we'll probably be dead unless we're vampires. We're gonna be on like our fourth life by then. Or something, right? Whatever happens. Virgo season. This is fun. I also was like, how am I going to deliver all this information? Because I'm bringing some historical facts into this one. And it was quite a doozy. So going back to the Denso energy, so this Pluto and Capricorn moment, like this is it. Like that's what I kept feeling and hearing of like, this is it, right? So I was like, well, dang, what has happened? You know, especially, for me being an American, what has happened between 2008 and 2024 that Pluto and Capricorn just wants me to like do a little scan, do a little scan, right? Like what has happened? So quite a few things have happened. And I'm just going to list them. I did not necessarily, pick some of these. I'm going to link everything. That way you can go through the beautiful Wikipedias that tell me all the timelines. So I'll link that in the description below. But okay, we're starting with 2008, like end of 2008. Like, does anyone remember that when, the housing bubble popped and the Great Recession started happening? No big deal. And then the Obama administration, 2009. Then we got the Affordable Care Act, the formal end to the Iraq War. And P.S., I'm talking in an American lens at this moment when it comes to history and what I was looking through. And then, of course, a lot of things have happened. Then we got the Trump administration, got 2020, COVID, all the things, pandemic, got the Biden administration, huge for tech. Uber was born in 2010. Airbnb was born in 2008. Instagram was born in 2010 as well. And then TikTok was born in 2018. So there were just like big evolutionary, revolutionary moments, right? Whoa, like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, we've only had these platforms for like only so many years, right? But it is really, it's a whole industry, it's a whole thing. So what does that mean, right? What that means is we're just going to talk about what are the facts of the planet itself, right? I know Pluto is no longer considered a planet, it's considered a dwarf planet. And then what is considered like this is astrology of what we know and what Pluto can represent. So we're going to kind of go through that today with Pluto and Uranus because those are two really big shifts that are happening. Not only that they happen on September 1st, it's like, whoop, okay, but the rest of the year, it's like we are being like, the universe is doing its thing. You know what I mean? And so I'm not predicting anything here, right? I'm not here to tell you about the future. I'm here to tell you what dots I see and connecting, what stars are talking to me, and what planets are like, remember when this happened at this time during this orbit? You can go look for yourself. It's literally history. So the Pluto facts is that this beautiful dwarf planet was discovered in 1930. It is 1,400 miles wide. Okay. A day on Pluto is 153 hours. Oh my God. And Pluto has 5 moons. It takes Pluto 248 years to orbit the sun. Okay. So that's how far away. That's Pluto, right? So now we're going to go into the zodiac of okay, like what does Pluto represent in astrology? So Pluto represents transformation and empowerment. It's really, I'll just read, people who are on the podcast who are listening, I'll just read this for you. Pluto represents transformation and empowerment, and it's ultimately about deep, intense change and the reclamation of personal power, right? In astrology, it rules the eighth house, which is very notorious for being the house of transformation, shared resources, and the mysteries of life and death. It's a nice way of saying sex, death, and taxes is what the eighth house is like. Yep, eighth house. People be scared at the eighth house. Okay, it's just deep transformation, and it really has you going through like just intense changes. And Scorpio's like, yes, love that, and that's why it's Scorpio's ruling planet. Scorpio's like, yep, I'm here for this. So it's also a generational planet. As I said, like it takes 248 years to orbit the sun. So when it goes through each constellation, it's a generational planet, which means people in these generations have the same, like, for example, Pluto and Scorpio for people who are born from 1983 to 1995. I'm one of those people. And guess what? Pluto's at home, right? So those of us who may actually experience like intense transformation kind of moments, but also is like, wow, like either they just keep happening or it's like, wow, like how did I intuitively know how to move through that? And then did you end up becoming a counselor, a helper, a therapist, a healer, um, someone who is like, oh, I learned something really important, super deep and super intense. And I know it's not always going to be like this for other people. So, what can I do? What have I learned that I can actually bring this to a service, a way of helping people, like really transform this energy, right? And reclaim the personal power that is there. So the energy, even though Pluto's like, I'm tiny, but like I have I you know, like don't fuck with like a Plutonian, okay? They they're tiny and mighty, okay? So Pluto has us like confront things, right? Our fears, our upset, sometimes our desires. Like it's not all bad, right? But Pluto's like, I need you to see this and like move through it, right? And oh, you see a storm, please move through the storm. Do not run away from the storm. The storm will then just chase you and you will keep running with the storm just behind you because you just won't, just go through the storm, have your rain jackets, have your things, find shelter, like whatever that means internally, externally, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So basically be authentic, like come back to yourself and, you know, superficiality is only going to get you so far. So that's very Pluto. Okay. And of course, Scorpio. So Pluto in Capricorn. So I don't know if listen to a bunch of astrologers lately. They've talked about how we're in our Pluto return in America, in American history, right? Because if it's 248 years to orbit the sun, that means what happened 248 years ago. Like, why do you think we're here, people? Like, talk about being here at quite a time of being alive, especially if you be an American. Okay. 1762 to 1778. Now, I had to look that up. I was like, okay, so what was happening at that time? Once again, Wikipedia to the rescue, just telling me all the things. So I will link that there and you can go see for yourself too. But the things that really stood out to me, obviously, was like the American Revolution, no big deal. 1763, we got the Treaty of Paris. I thought that was just so ironic that I was like, didn't we just have an Olympics in Paris? Oh, interesting. I don't know. Pontiac's War begins. King George III signs the Proclamation of 1763. The Sugar Act is passed. The Stamp Act is passed. Then the Stamp Act is repealed. Then, that's kind of like a bunch of things. And then jumping to 1770, the Boston Massacre. 1772, Samuel Adams organizes the Committees of Correspondence. 1773, Boston Tea Party. Okay. 1776. I mean, actually, well, let's just do this because I was like, you know what? I am just going to show you. Let me put this over here. I'm just going to show you. Yeah, because 1760, because then it was like a bunch of battles. Yeah, from 1773. Yeah, and then I was like, I cannot write all these things down. It's like battle, 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 battle. Declaration of Independence, right? Lots of fighting. Okay. So that was the last time that Pluto was in Capricorn, and I'm on American soil. So that's what that's like through the lens of like as an American, what else is happening in my collective as an American. Here, if we just look back at like this was basically what happened from 2008 until present day. So again, thank you, Wikipedia. You tell me what I need to know at what point, right? So we got all that. So we're just gonna we're not predicting anything. And just because history repeats itself doesn't mean it has to repeat itself, right? I mean, maybe. We're about to find out. Because we do have dun, 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 autonomy. We have choice. We have rights, and what does that mean? How do we use them at this time? So Pluto in Capricorn, that was the last time, right? And remember, Pluto and Scorpio get along. Like that is Scorpios are at home in Pluto world, right? So if you don't got a Scorpio friend, you better get one, okay? Because they will just be like, "Oh yeah, you good, baby. Let's go." So September 1st, Pluto retrogrades in Capricorn, right? So the planet is like, "Okay, this is it." Right? I will never be in Capricorn again. And all things come to an end eventually, right? As we saw in history, the last time Pluto was in Capricorn, a lot was going on. A lot was going on. Capricorn's ruling planet is Saturn. right? Discipline, limits can come across like also very earthy, but can come across pretty direct and pretty much like this is the limit. These are the negotiations. This is what it is, you know? I kind of see it as like the contract of life and death, right? You can't like negotiate your way out of those things and the grants, like it, we don't know. It happens, right? So it can be kind of like, Capricorn and Scorpio, like they get along, right? So we got all of this happening and retrograding. So we got Pluto retrograding in Capricorn for the last time, and then it's going to go into Aquarius for, the next. I mean, I don't even know how many years. I didn't look it up. But then we're like shifting signs. And I don't know if you've heard like people say, like, oh, we're in the age of Aquarius. Like, ooh, Aquarius. It's like that is true, but also it's going to take it's going to take years upon years to make the big, big, big shift. Everything is shifting. It has to, right? That's evolution. That's like what we have to do. But it will take time to fully be in the age of Aquarius and like totally know that we're in it, because sometimes we realize we're in it after it's been happening. So moving on. Speaking of Aquarius, Aquarius's ruling planet, one of their ruling planets, is Uranus. Uranus and then Saturn is also, so Capricorn and Aquarius both share Saturn as their ruling planet, which is why they recognize each other, right? But it's very different energy. I don't know if you like, if you got a Capricorn friend, you got an Aquarius friend, sometimes you're like, y'all are so different, but yet like y'all are the same. Or like there's something like, oh, interesting, right? So that's the Uranus, the uniqueness and kind of innovation and a little difference of Aquarius, but with the discipline, knowing, listen, we can like make all the things and do all the things, but like there are limits and there are like universal rules. And if we know them and we collaborate with them, we can get what we want, but we also have to recognize where's our integrity and is it here with us, right now? So Uranus in Taurus. So now we're going to like shift and we're going to be like, okay, September 1st, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, and that happens all the way until January 21st. And then, at some point, Pluto will go direct and then it's going to move into Aquarius. But we don't have to worry about that right now. Uranus in Taurus has been since May 15th of 2018 to April 27th of 2026. And I was like, okay. So we have to also know a bit more about Uranus because let's see, where are my notes on that one? Because during that time, well, actually, let's just first get into like, what is the planet of Uranus, right? It's like if you are, you got a brain of a second grader and you're laughing because I keep saying Uranus, Uranus, Uranus. Yeah, it just happens. I don't know. That's just like what it is. It's Uranus. So it's discovered in 1781. Remember when we were like, Pluto was discovered in 1930, Uranus was like, I see you, the telescope. You know what I'm saying? 1781. Okay, so we've known about Uranus for a while. The radius, though, literally 4 times the size of Earth. So we're talking 15,759.2 miles is the radius. I saw that it's like if Earth was a nickel, then Uranus would be a softball. So that's a big planet. Okay. A day over at Uranus is 17 hours. And Uranus has 27 moons and it takes 84 years to orbit the sun. And their orbit is like an oval. So that's the facts on Uranus. Now, when it comes to astrology, Uranus is all about this innovation, rebellion, like a change, right? So we're like wanting to change and we're wanting to elevate. And, the Aquariuses are like, I may be leading this revolution, whether we know it or not. And maybe we know, maybe we don't, but I'm leading it. I'll lead it. I'll go, revolution. We got to go. So that's why it works really well with that Leo energy because Leo's like, yeah, I'll go. I'm the star. Like, yes, look at me. But Aquarius is like, I'm bringing a whole group of people with me, like a movement. You know what I mean? So, like, that dynamic of Leo and Aquarius, awesome. So this is like breaking free from tradition, embracing originality, right? So in astrology, we got the 11th house that Uranus or Aquarius really rules, which is known as the house of friendships, groups, and future aspirations. So innovation, future, Aquarians, like my strategy self, like that's why I do really well with consulting to people. And I'm like, let me see your business. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, what do you want? What do you want? Okay. Okay. So you want to get there? It's going to take effort and we got to like make a plan, right? That Saturn energy that like, just get your ducks in the row and boom. So Uranus is also a generational planet and it's at home. So people who have Uranus in Aquarius, you were born from 1995 to 2003. Remember when I talked about breaking free from tradition, embracing originality? Hello, like you guys are like helping those of us who don't have Uranus at home in Aquarius to be ourselves and to push us towards progress. And, it says right here, the planet's energy is electric, pushing us towards progress, unconventional thinking, and unexpected shifts, right? So it encourages individuality, which is like that Leo energy, and can bring about revolutionary changes in both personal and collective consciousness. So Uranus is like, what? We shifting? We doing some Aquarius stuff? Okay, let's go. Consciousness, right? Where are we at? Where are we at? And then where are we going, right? Just because it's going that direction, not everybody goes with the change. You know what I mean? It's all about like how adaptable are you as a human being? That's what I was kind of getting. So the last time Uranus was in Taurus was a very significant time in history. And I'm like, wow, these big planets are telling me, okay, so the last time I was here, this stuff was happening, right? And then the last time I was here, this stuff was happening. So Pluto was already talking to me and being like, yo, this is the last time I was here and this is what's going on. We're finishing this up and then we're going to go to Aquarius, okay? Uranus and Taurus is like, okay, the last time I was in, or Uranus is saying the last time I was in Taurus was in 1934 to 1941. And talk about a lot of things going on, important things that we have to acknowledge, right? So I have my little Wikipedia again showing me of like, okay, you want to know like exactly what was happening 1934, right? To 1941. So I just wrote quick things in order to like be like, well, obviously a lot of battles, a lot of fighting. World War II was happening. Hello. So real quick things that I saw from this list, because there are obviously so many things. The Indian Reorganization Act was established. The FBI was established 1935. 1939, World War II begins. It's the end of the Great Depression, right? So I said it was the end of the Great, recession when we were talking about Pluto, and then here it's like the end of the Great Depression. I'm like, oh, oh, interesting. Pearl Harbor, 1941. And besides just what this was telling me in, this was the American history, obviously some really serious things are happening even before the World War II was um, declared or began, right? So at the time of the Holocaust, and that started in 1933. So I'm looking at like, so the planets are like telling me what happened between 1934 and 1941. That was like really just what happened. Pay attention to what ended up happening. Well, 1933, Hitler was appointed, right? And then we can just go through. Actually, I found, of course, this is from the Museum of Tolerance. I always try to make sure I'm getting, the links that you guys can look at yourself as to like what else you see. But obviously, this was a strategy. This was something that ended up becoming a horrible, horrible part of our history. And that, Uranus was in Taurus at this time. So here's all of this as well. So we're just going to go back to our presentation. And obviously, like, what's happening right now, right? We're really being confronted, that Pluto and Capricorn, by what it's a lot of war. There's a lot of death happening at both of these times. A lot of souls have lost their lives, right? And unjustly, like not in a way where, I mean, in a way that we need to pay attention and we need to see the truth, right? So that kind of made me be like, oh, okay. Uranus, you're definitely got serious with me, right? Because now Uranus is going to be retrograding the same day, September 1st, same day as the Pluto is retrograding in Capricorn. So those two big planets had a big story to tell me of like, okay, here's what happened in history at the time that I was in these signs before. Do you see any correlations, or what do you see? Tell me the patterns you see. Could those be patterns? Could it be the energy of planets? Why would history kind of be showing itself in these similarities, right? Both Capricorn and Taurus are earth energy, earth elements. Taurus's ruling planet is Venus. So I I mm, I wanted to know what where because that was a lot for me to be like, oh my God, I sat down to like do the September, you know, um forecast. And immediately on September 1st, I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. Okay, how do I like just like, talk about this and then like, get through the rest of the month? But I'm spending a lot of time right here to have us just like sense into the history, right? The patterns of like what was happening at that time. What was happening 248 years ago? What was happening, from 1934 to 1941? Okay, what's happening now? Like what wars are being conducted, and what is happening to people on their homeland, like where are where did technology end up shifting, right? How did it become something that feels like there's a lot of people dying? Um, so that's September 1st. And of course, it's like, I guess here is a good thing to say what the Palestinian people are going through. Um, I couldn't ignore or bypass or not see, like, whoa, there was also an extreme, terrible genocide happening the same time that Uranus was in Taurus in from 1934 to 1941. Like, whoa, right? So Virgo season has me be real, right, and detailed. So that is the first. We're gonna feel some sort of shift, and I feel like because as Americans, we are. I don't know what our role is in all of these battles and wars, right? But I do think there is something energetically and within our souls that we have to like have the conversation, right? We're coming up to like a really important time of election season as to where this could go. Beyond September. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we're going to shift gears a little bit. And September 2nd, it's like, okay, 30 minutes later, September 2nd, right? But this was actually like, I was like, I want to take my time with this because the things that I was just like, interesting. I'm not usually a historian type, okay? But I love a history book. And so I was like, just like deciding to like look at the times and seeing like, whoa, huh, does that, huh? That's interesting. How did that? So do with that what you will. And if you found any other, lovely patterns or whatnot, tell them to me. Put them in the comments. What do you think about all of that? September 2nd, the new moon in Virgo, right? So then we're making some choices. New moons, people are always like, and it's Labor Day, right? So it's like also a day off. So this is like a big, and I know I'm talking right now as like an American, but I think right now, like this weekend is like a, I don't know, it just feels like there's something shifting, right? Then we have this new moon in Virgo. Virgos love a new moon and a full moon. Okay. They got the ritual and the routine. They did their research. They found the things. That's why I was like, whoa, September 1st took me like an hour just to like get everything together. And I was like, oh my God, like, please stick with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. But thank you, Virgo, for having us be like, see, what do they say? What's the saying? The devil's in the details, right? So we went into the details a little bit and we were like, oh, interesting. All right. So that new moon in Virgo, with all of that said, how are you living your life? Right? Where is your money going? Are you buying from places that are supporting other things that you actually don't believe in? Could you actually put your money into something else that you do believe in? Um, what else? It was like big money, right? So a lot of money and currency, this new moon in Virgo, it's like, where's your money going, right? You have the choice, you can make a difference. You are making a difference about where you put your dollars, okay? So, new moon in Virgo is about money maintenance, financial self-care. Just be just be real with yourself, right? How we doing, where we going? Because that Mars, so remember how Mars was in Gemini? We talked about it. Well, now Mars went, okay, like I told you, I'll see you in 2 years, right? And like I wasn't kidding. I'll see you in 2 years, and you're gonna tell me what happened because Mars enters Cancer on September 4th, and that's that, right? So then we're moving on. So we got a lot of shifting energy in this this part of the week. So this first week in September is really shifting a lot of different energy moments, and the 8th. So once again, we got the first, we got those retrogrades, those big retrogrades. So it's not just like, oh, things are happening and it's like Mercury's retrograde. No, these are bigger shifts that we're all evolutionarily going through. I don't know, I'm human too, right? So I'm just trying to like pay attention of like, how do I feel? Do I need some rest? Do I need some water? Do I need some friends? Do I need some fun? Do I need some food? Like, just like take care of yourself, check in, check in, check in. Because then we have Mercury entering Virgo September 8th. Now we are in Virgo season. Okay. So that new moon in Virgo is like, okay, remember when we sat down and we had this talk and like we decided like a few things. And some of those things are never again things, right? So what are the things that we are going to say goodbye to and let go of? That, like that will be good for us to let go of. And what are the things that we really are calling into our lives that we want to have at this point within 2 years, right? There's still time. Mars in Gemini is like, listen, I'm still like here and I'm going to talk to you, but like Mars is now just in Cancer. So it's going to be less electric energy and more vibey, more watery. Cancer is a water sign, very intuitive, more in the emotions of things, in the feels of things, which is why I'm like this money, right? Where's the money going? Is it aligning with who you truly are or who you want to be? Because in 2 years, baby, you could be a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Just it's all about the strategy. It's all about wealthy decisions, how we treat ourselves, all the things. So that's what I was really getting from Virgo. Virgo was like, listen up. Okay. So that Mercury entering Virgo, which, hello, ruling planet, loves Mercury. They work so well together. Like, remember, Mercury is Gemini and Virgo's ruling planet. Also, it only takes what did I find? Okay, so you know how Pluto takes 248 years to orbit the sun. Uranus takes 84 years to orbit the sun. Um, Mercury takes 88 days. Okay. So when we say speedy, speedy, let's go, Mercury, right? So then I'm looking at the week of September 9th to the 16th. And there are some things that happen, but all you need to know, because this first week was like, there's a big shift happening. Then that second week, self care is priority. Okay. Because when we approach this third week, things are gonna maybe feel, mm, well, you tell me, right? So I was really feeling the all this history, all this stuff happening. I'm a human being. What am I doing? Like, okay, I got a new moon coming up. All right, Mars enters Cancer. All these things, right? But in the end, spiritually speaking, how do you take care of your spirit? How do you take care of your soul? So after all I was doing, like, my brain was like, oh my God. Okay, now what do I do with all this? And it's like, okay, let's connect with the spirit of who you are. Let's connect with your soul. Let's connect with the heart, right? Where would the soul live? Like, where do you feel your soulfulness, right? The soul, I mean, it's here. It's your heart, right? We all got you can be, walking and talking brains, but when people feel that navigation through their heart center, or they're more connected to their heart center, which that Mars enters Cancer is really going to help us sense into that and be like, ooh, take care of yourself. So spiritually, how do you take care of yourself? That was really the focus of like self-care. I did a whole video on self-care that I will link below. But right now, we're just going to ask ourselves, how do you take care of your soul? How do you take care of your spirit? How do you take care of your purpose, or your your sense of purpose? Because it's a practice. And look at all these little butterflies. They're hanging out together. So just because you be doing your self-care work individually, right? Leo energy. Also, collectively, Aquarius energy. So the rebellion, right? The like, what is breaking tradition, right? That Uranus and Uranus energy of like, what is something that I do believe in and I do want to cultivate and love. And, there really is a big shift in spirituality happening. And of course, if there's going to be a bunch of tech happening, and we're humans with humanness, right? This technology, I don't know. Have we had it before? I don't know. But we've had technology on this planet before, and things have been wiped out. We don't know why, but it's a mystery. But if I was the historian, I would be looking at that and being like, well, at times of deep transformation on the physical planet, something else happens spiritually too. Because sometimes when things get really real, what do people do? They pray. They literally then like connect with something that is bigger than them, that hopefully they believe is taking care of them and guiding them, right? That is with love. Um, and that they find some sort of like deeper purpose or deeper practice or deeper sense of being here, right? So I just feel like that's going to happen on a collective level, but it's also going to happen individually. So taking care of that spiritual self-care is really important, really, really important. Because then we got, the self-care week. Then on September 17th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. It's no joke. There's a reason why I'm like self-care, 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 self-care. Like every single day up until this full moon lunar eclipse, there's always some sort of release. There's always some sort of um expansion happening. And it's in Pisces. So also like a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces of all signs. That's like, yes, this is my moon. Like you're supported by Pisces. Pisces is holding you in here with you. So another water, right? So if we got that Mars entry in Cancer, we got the full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. We still got that Mercury in Virgo, right? So we still be grounded. So if you be really feeling the water, you really be feeling more of your emotions. Then remember to be here with Virgo energy, Virgo and Mercury, and Sun is in Virgo, and just be with that sense of purpose, right? Because the 18th to the 22nd, I was like, is this a joke? Because we go from opposition, trine, opposition, square. Oh, wait, opposition, trine, square. Yeah. And part of me was like, oof, the 18th, we got Mercury, Virgo, opposition, Saturn, Pisces. Oppositions can mean what that means, opposition, right? So you may feel the opposition, right? That could be a good thing. That could be like, oh, that's not for me. Great. That's not even in my orbit. It's not even coming close, right? And then the opposition of like, yes, like this thing is like needs to go, right? It needs to detach, or it needs to be on their side of the street, right? Stories, people, places, just like and then we got the trine. So then we got Sun Virgo, trine Uranus Taurus, right? So that energy of like Taurus, Uranus and Taurus, and Pluto and Capricorn really, really, really wanted me to take the time, right? Which I should actually say right here. Let's just since all those other ones are bolded, then we'll bold that one. And then, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we still know that those things are retrograde. So then we got the 19th, we got a trine. A trine is harmony, right? If you come from any religious backgrounds, right? Three is a big number in numerology. Actually, let me grab my numerology book. The Trinity, right? Big deal, miraculous, you know, uh things, right? Very it's got a lot of symbolism to it, but a lot of harmony. Triangles are very, very popular in esoteric practices and rituals and what they mean. Pyramids, triangle, mountains, kind of triangle, like maybe anything that you find that's like, ooh, that's like, that brings me peace, that brings me harmony, that brings me some sort of like, it's going to be okay. Like this is great. And then we go into an opposition, the 20th, Sun Virgo opposition, Neptune Pisces. So then we go back into the like, what is mine? What is not mine? What is mine? What is not mine? That could be the story. It could be like, however it kind of shows up in your life. There may be a ping pong match happening this week. And then we got that Sun Virgo trine, Pluto retrograde, Capricorn. So that trine, I think both of those trine, the Sun Virgo trine of the Uranus and Taurus retrograde and the Pluto Capricorn retrograde, Virgo is really trying to tell us something, that Sun and Virgo, right? Because those two planets are trining Sun and Virgo. So we're going to either like really know our purpose or meaning, or like something's going to be really, really clear to us. It could be political. I don't know. I was going through a lot of history stuff. It could be like a movement. It could be, an activation of some sort, because there's going to be some sort of release on that full moon on the 17th. And Pisces is like, yes, we got this. They're like the ancient ones, right? They like know they're the mystics. They're the like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I got the download last week. Like, hello. Okay, so then we got on the 22nd is kind of a big day. So I feel like that 17th, that full moon, I don't know. So I don't know where I read this, but I'm pretty sure it was like, yeah, in the hospital, like there's like more patients during full moons for some reason. Like the moon just we're like this. If it can move the ocean, if it can move the tides of the ocean, and we are 70 something percent of water, okay? The moon has got to move us, right? We are moved by the moon. And the moon is emotional because that is Cancer's ruling planet. Cancers are like, yes, baby, moon magic. Hello. Emotions. I can feel you, know you, like do it, like intuition, spirit realm, sign me up. Love it here, right? So that Mars enters Cancer kind of moment, plus that full moon lunar eclipse and Pisces moment, we're going to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we get to that 22nd, right? So if we're feeling emotionally or mentally or physically, spiritually, however it feels like, just get through that week. And then the 22nd, we have a square. So Venus in Libra, which is going to shift, right? Squares Pluto retrograde Capricorn. Then the sun enters Libra. So all of a sudden it's like, oh my God. And now it's Libra season. Virgo season was like a freaking course. Like, what? And maybe it was a course correction. Okay. Because listen, when Virgos are like, hey, did you spot that? Or like, hey, did you see that? Or like, hey, if you add that to your thing, it does change a few things. Oh, thank you, Virgo. Thank you. Because then we pass the torch to Libra, and it's like Libra aesthetic, right? Justice, hostess with the mostess. Libras are like, ooh, I got this. You know what I mean? And Venus moves from Libra into Scorpio. So again, this aspect of this question of like love, a theme of love or a theme of depth, transformation. Libras always are they care. They Venetian, very Venus energy, right? There is so much care and nurture, right? So what do you care about? Do you care enough for yourself, right? A lot of self-care was coming up. I taught a group of about 10 individuals and we talked all about self-care, and there's all these different categories of self-care, which I will link the website in the workshop below. There's all these different aspects of self-care. It's not just one thing, it's all these categories. But we came to the conclusion that if we just care about ourselves, we're doing the work. So if you feel like, oh, I'm just caretaking, a lot of stuff for a lot of people, and I have to care for this and I got to care for this, care about. What do you care about? That's the question. That's the question that Virgo is so gently bringing us to, that moment where it's like, yes, sweater weather. We're definitely back in school. Ooh, cool breeze. Leaves are changing, and all of a sudden it's like fall. And then, we go to Home Goods and it's freaking Christmas and whatnot. And you're like, oh God, the seasons, like you guys don't even give us time to process. But that's beside the point. So that's what I was really coming to terms with, of like, wow, so this self-care thing is really essential. And we really got to like figure out what works for us in September. And Virgos are like, listen, I can help you with that. Call me up. Because then on the 26th, we have Mercury going from Virgo into Libra again. So like Mercury and Virgo is like, this is where I'm at. This is like, I feel at home. So Virgo season is going to feel at home, like when it comes to Mercury. So when it comes to what we experience, what we say, what we're observing in the world, there you will find home, that home feeling. And then it's going to move into Libra, which is like love, right? Venus energy. So it's like, yes, this is my home, or this is like what feels like home to me or feels good to me. And then it's like, oh, I love this. Like, hopefully it's a love activation in our chakra system, but especially our hearts, right? I think we're navigating through some really intense times, and we're not bypassing our hearts. And it sounds much easier than it really is, because when there is a lot of death, or when there is a lot going on that we feel in control, out of control, like this is just, it's bigger than me. Like, what do I do? All sorts of stuff. You got to come back to yourself and say, well, what am I doing? I can do this for me. Imagine if a bunch of people did that. What a movement, what a rebellious, amazing act that would be. So I think that's the like Aquarius aspect that's happening almost telepathically. Like we're all getting the message, we're all kind of like shifting and doing the thing. And then it's like, oh my God, your download sounded like mine. Oh my God, you got that message too. Oh my God. And it's like, great, we're all connected, right? Like we're all source, the light source is the light source, like whether you call it God, creator, whatever that nature, whatever that magnificent feeling of like, wow, I'm on this planet. What a beautiful planet. And that gratefulness that comes with it. So that grounded gratefulness, that is where we're going to be at. And that is the practice. There's a reason why we have to move through those feelings, right? Because it will bring us back home to ourselves, to the planet, to aspects of ourselves. We don't have to get into this now, but it would be an actually really cool topic. I'll do a video on it. Actually, I should write myself a note about soul loss and about I don't know if you guys know about like, soul journeys and like sometimes when things happen that are really intense, like you kind of like you leave your body, right? So that's what people can call like a soul loss, right? So you have to like go through these things in your life that the universe is bringing you, your soul, like back to you, and you don't want to reject it. You want to be like, wow, thank you. Like it's been filtered with love by the universe, right? But that conversation is between you and the universe. Okay. So we got plenty of helpers. We got plenty of people who can help you with that conversation and teach you or encourage you to continue to cultivate your communication with the planets, with spirit, creator, nature, whatever you sense into, right? And that Mercury and Libra is just going to make it like, I thought like, the end of August, we really had that love feeling, but we're going deeper and deeper into love, which is actually really beautiful. So I was thinking, what kind of practice can we do? Right? Self care is a big old topic. Okay. The caring about the self is really where we're going to be at. So at the end of the night, if you have a scan, right, of your day and you're like, where were the self care moments? And I want you to like remember or recall those self-care moments, because when you recall something and you're really acknowledging something, it's that is like incredible. That is where there's a lot of integration happening. And at the end of the night, there should be some sort of ritual of like, okay, that was my day. That's what's going on. Now I'm going to say goodbye to this day because I'm going to go to bed. So grateful I get to sleep, get up, do my thing, right? Next day. So try to do one intentional, conscious act of self care a day and recall it before you go to bed. Hopefully, you'll be like, oh my God, and I did this for myself and I did that. I cared about myself then. That was me caring about myself. Like, and, continue to find those moments and cultivate them, because then that becomes self love. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it's second nature for me to uh think of myself when I'm either, you know, at work or this or this. Sometimes it's just so easy to get pulled out of yourself. And then at the end of the day, you're like, woo. So we're all coming back, right? We're all coming back. So you can definitely check out more about the Embracing Self-Care workshop. I'll link it below because that really goes in depth. That goes more in depth of like, yeah, like where is my self care at right now? What are these categories that I can start to cultivate? And how do I do it all? One step at a time, one self care act a day for yourself. And that you will call it at the end of the night, encouraging yourself to continue and keep going. So that is really it. That's all. Be like, oh, that's it. But September was a big one, right? So I was like, whoa, we got some generational um planets talking, right? So they wanted to have the microphone for a little bit. They're like, okay, we're gonna get a little serious, and we're gonna recall some times in history and how they line up, and then where we're at now. And guess what? We haven't gotten to the end of the story yet. So you have choice. You can choose how the story ends. And we did look at history and the way things ended. Whew, there's a lot of lives that were lost, and there's a lot of it's a lot of cleanup. War is expensive, and it's also just like, oh, it's really intense and hard on all of us. So, how can we choose a different path this time? So, I'll see you in October. Such a weird thing to say, because September is going to go by quick. So really, really take those 2 weeks. Take those 2 weeks, self-care it up, baby. Okay. And then get to work. Get to that Virgo work, being like, okay, we rested and we rested good. So now we are gonna go out there and Libra and Libra it up. So until then, I will see you in October. Do your thing, be you, feel into September. And if you need any help or need any coaching, just call me up. I'm right over here. Okay. I will see you in October. Bye. Do, 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 do. Yes. Okay. Bye.